Hey, Raiders fans. We are officially back and diving deep into everything happening with our Las Vegas Raiders as we roll into week 1 of the season. It has been a whirlwind leading up to this point. And if you've been following along, even casually, you know that this offseason has been full of roster moves, player developments, and some very intriguing decisions that could shape the early part of this season. There is so much to unpack, and we're going to take a look at all of it, from the newest additions to the team to those who won't be on the roster come Sunday, and even some updates on our upcoming opponents that you need to be aware of. Let's start with the most recent news, which centers on the Raiders' activity in the past 24 hours. The team made 4 significant roster moves, and each of them has its own story and potential impact. The first move that really caught my eye was the signing of linebacker Brian Omoa. If you've been following the league closely, you probably remember Omoa when he came out of Oklahoma. He was drafted in the 3rd round, 66th overall, by the Minnesota Vikings, a team that clearly saw potential in his combination of athleticism, speed, and instinctive play. Over the course of 3 seasons in Minnesota, he struggled to find a consistent role, but what we saw on tape was undeniable talent. Omoa has that twitchy, explosive speed that allows him to close gaps quickly and make plays sideline to sideline. There's a certain rawness to his game, a sense that he's still learning how to read keys and maintain proper technique. But if you're the kind of team that believes in development, the kind that trusts strong coaching and a structured system, there's reason to think he could carve out a role, particularly on special teams, where athleticism often trumps experience. Looking deeper at his numbers, it's clear that his PFF grades in recent seasons haven't been impressive on paper. Last year, in limited snaps, he had a very low overall grade, and his coverage and run defense numbers were similarly unimpressive. However, those stats are based on incredibly small sample sizes, sometimes just a few dozen snaps over a season. The real takeaway is to focus on his most active season, where over 100 snaps, he displayed flashes of high-level play, particularly in coverage and run defense. What makes Omoa interesting isn't the grade itself, but the potential ceiling. He's fast, instinctive, and aggressive. And in a system that can harness his talents properly, he could become a contributor not just on special teams, but also in certain defensive packages. Watching his tape is fascinating because you see a player with elite physical tools who sometimes looks chaotic on the field, almost like a chicken running with its head cut off, but a fast, incredibly talented chicken who has the ability to make game-changing plays when he's in the right position. There's a reason coaches keep looking at athletes like this. If you can teach them the game, their ceiling is incredibly high. The next move that drew attention was the signing of quarterback Jeff Driscoll. Now, for those of you keeping an eye on the quarterback room, this is an interesting addition. Driscoll was a 6th-round pick back in 2016 and has spent time bouncing around multiple teams: the 49ers, Bengals, Lions, Broncos, Texans, Cardinals, Browns, and Commanders. That kind of journey gives a player a wealth of knowledge about different systems and offensive philosophies. And for a quarterback 3, that is exactly the type of experience you want. He's not coming in to be the starter immediately, but his familiarity with multiple offensive schemes makes him a valuable addition to the practice squad. It also opens up potential flexibility for the Raiders down the line, particularly with Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell in the mix. Miller is still developing, and O'Connell is returning from injury. So having a player like Driscoll around provide insurance, depth, and someone who can absorb the offense quickly while helping groom other players. While he's not going to be making highlight reel plays this week, his presence on the roster adds a layer of stability and readiness that's easy to underestimate when the season kicks off. At the same time, the Raiders made the difficult decisions to part ways with Matt Jones, a linebacker, and Trey Taylor, a safety. Jones is a strong athlete who has had flashes of playmaking ability, but during the preseason, he struggled significantly in coverage. In today's NFL, athleticism is not enough. You have to be disciplined, read plays quickly, and execute. Unfortunately, Jones didn't consistently display those qualities, and in a league where every mistake can cost points, the Raiders decided to move on. Trey Taylor faced similar challenges. Drafted in the 7th round, he entered a team in transition with a new coaching staff and an abundance of competition at the safety position. While Taylor had potential, The coaching staff evidently didn't feel confident that he would make the final roster, which is never easy for a young player to hear, but it's part of the business. These decisions reflect the Raiders' focus on both immediate competitiveness and long-term development. Beyond the roster moves, there's also the matter of our upcoming opponents. The Raiders are set to face the New England Patriots, and the latest news is that Christian Gonzalez, arguably the top defender on that team, remains sidelined with a hamstring injury. Gonzalez has been dealing with this issue since early training camp, and hamstring injuries are notoriously tricky. They can linger if rushed. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel expressed cautious optimism, but also frustration, acknowledging that Gonzalez is working hard to return, but that his availability is uncertain. For the Raiders, this is a development worth watching closely. The absence of a top corner could influence the game plan significantly, opening opportunities in the passing game and altering how the defense will match up against receivers. Meanwhile, there's still the availability of Jabril Peppers to consider. While he hasn't been added to the Raiders roster, his presence on the free agent radar is noteworthy. Peppers is a player capable of making an impact in multiple defensive roles, and keeping an eye on him could be crucial as the season begins. The Raiders' secondary has questions to answer, and depth in that unit could prove decisive in tight games. As we move closer to kickoff, all of these factors, new signings, cuts, injuries, and free agent possibilities, paint a picture of a team that is dynamic, evolving, and focused on maximizing every opportunity. Each roster decision tells a story about the philosophy of the coaching staff, the evaluation of talent, and the preparation for not just week one, but the entire season. The balance between raw athletic potential, experience, and scheme fit is delicate, and watching how these moves play out on the field will be one of the most fascinating aspects of following the Raiders this year. As we move deeper into the week, the focus naturally shifts to matchups and player dynamics that could define the season opener. The Raiders' preparation for the Patriots is about more than just the obvious starters. It's about understanding where opportunities lie, where weaknesses might be exploited, and how new additions can impact both the immediate game and the broader season trajectory. When you look at Brian Omoa, for instance, his role may not make headlines yet, but the Raiders' coaching staff clearly sees a chance to maximize his physical abilities. He has a rare combination of speed, agility, and pursuit instinct that, when properly channeled, can turn routine plays into critical stops. Against a team like New England, where timing and route discipline are key, having someone like Omoa in the linebacker rotation, even in special teams and rotational packages, could pay dividends in unexpected moments. It's not about being the star of the defense from day one. It's about contributing to the overall energy, the competitive depth, and occasionally making a play that shifts momentum. On the offensive side, the quarterback room is still evolving. Jeff Driscoll's arrival adds a layer of complexity and security. The reality of having multiple quarterbacks on the practice squad is that it creates a learning environment that goes beyond individual performance. Driscoll's experience across multiple teams means he's seen different defensive looks, different timing structures, and varied offensive schemes, which can provide an invaluable resource for Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell. When O'Connell returns from injury, the coaching staff will need to decide how to balance potential, experience, and readiness. The presence of Driscoll might allow for smoother transitions, giving younger players the chance to absorb the offense without the added pressure of performing immediately under game conditions. This kind of developmental approach reflects a long-term strategy, ensuring that when these quarterbacks are called upon, they're prepared not just physically, but mentally and strategically. Meanwhile, the departures of Matt Jones and Trey Taylor highlight the stark realities of roster management. In the NFL, being a standout athlete isn't enough. Execution, awareness, and consistency define longevity. Jones had athletic ability, but in coverage situations, he frequently appeared out of position or late in his reads, which is a liability against disciplined offenses like the Patriots. Taylor faced a similar challenge. A combination of limited opportunity, intense competition, and systemic change meant the team decided to invest elsewhere. These moves may seem harsh, but they reflect the Raiders' broader philosophy: build depth, prioritize players who fit the scheme immediately, and maintain flexibility for in-season adjustments. From a fan perspective, it's easy to get caught up in names and potential, but the reality is that every snap matters, and every decision is measured against immediate performance potential and long-term contribution. Speaking of the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez's hamstring issue is a storyline that cannot be ignored. Gonzalez has been sidelined since early training camp, which means the Patriots are entering the first week of the season with uncertainty at a key position. Hamstring injuries are particularly tricky in football. They can linger and flare up if rushed, affecting not just speed, but timing, acceleration, and the ability to change direction instantly. For the Raiders, this opens strategic opportunities. Passing routes, motion schemes, and route combinations that could be adjusted to exploit potential gaps in coverage. However, it's not just about targeting a specific player. It's about how the entire Patriots secondary adjusts in response. Defensive backs often compensate for a missing teammate by shifting responsibilities, which can create mismatches in other areas. Understanding these ripple effects is essential for the Raiders' offensive game plan and could influence the coaching staff's approach to play calling, personnel deployment, and even tempo. At the same time, the Raiders' secondary itself is in a delicate balance. There are capable players, but depth and adaptability will be tested. Injuries, matchups, and in-game adjustments are going to define success in the secondary more than any preseason hype. Jabril Peppers, still available, represents an example of the kind of player that could influence depth discussions mid-season. His versatility, ability to play multiple roles, and experience in different defensive schemes make him an asset for teams willing to integrate him effectively. The Raiders' current evaluation of their roster will inevitably influence decisions like this, as they weigh readiness, potential, and fit within the defensive system. Looking at matchups more broadly, the Patriots present both challenges and opportunities. Their offensive philosophy is methodical, focused on timing, discipline, and exploiting defensive tendencies. Their tight ends, slot receivers, and quick passing game can create space for larger plays downfield. At the same time, their offense can be pressured into mistakes if defensive rotations are clean, communication is crisp, and athleticism is leveraged effectively. Players like Max Crosby become pivotal in this context. His ability to generate pressure, disrupt timing, and force hurried decisions is amplified when the surrounding defensive personnel can maintain containment and discipline. This is where the combination of rotational linebackers, hybrid defenders, and versatile defensive backs becomes critical. It's not about one player carrying the game. It's about collective execution and understanding how to manipulate the opponent's strengths against them. The Raiders' offensive front will also face significant tests. Protecting the quarterback against a disciplined pass rush, establishing running lanes, and sustaining drives are essential for controlling the tempo. With Driscoll, Miller, and O'Connell in the mix, coaching decisions will also involve managing repetitions in practice and deciding who sees snaps in critical situations. This isn't just about roster management. It's about preparing for multiple scenarios. Injuries, substitutions, and in-game adjustments require a team to have fluidity and readiness at every position. The early weeks are as much about assessment as they are about winning. Coaches are constantly evaluating not only the play on the field, but how players respond under pressure, how they execute assignments, and how they communicate in real time. In this environment, attention to detail, preparation, and adaptability are key. Coaches will be watching player reactions to game speed, evaluating decision-making under pressure, and testing depth at critical positions. Fans will be analyzing matchups, speculating about future contributions, and debating potential breakout players. The dynamic between preparation and execution is what makes football endlessly fascinating. And for Raiders fans, Week 1 offers both anticipation and opportunity. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Hill, whose electrifying speed and uncanny ability to change the trajectory of a game in mere seconds have been demonstrated countless times on the field, now finds himself at the center of a swirling storm of speculation, with pundits dissecting every aspect of this deal, from salary cap implications to the potential ripple effects on team chemistry and offensive strategy. Sources hint that the Raiders' front office saw in Hill not just a star athlete, but a symbolic figure capable of reigniting a fan base that has been yearning for a resurgence, a move that may redefine the team's identity in the years to come. Conversations behind the scenes reportedly focus on how Hill's presence could elevate not only the passing game, but also the overall morale of a roster that has oscillated between flashes of brilliance and periods of stagnation. As whispers turn into murmurs in sports bars and online forums, one thing is clear. This acquisition has already taken on a mythic quality, with fans speculating endlessly about what this might mean for the next season and beyond, transforming ordinary discussions about team strategy into fevered debates about legacy, potential championships, and the aura Hill brings to the silver and black. The initial reactions to Tyreek Hill's signing have been a mixture of astonishment, skepticism, and uncontainable excitement, as analysts attempt to predict how a player of his caliber could reshape the Raiders' offensive landscape. Conversations among insiders suggest that Hill's speed, route-running precision, and ability to perform under pressure could unlock the potential of quarterback Derek Carr, or whoever ultimately lines up under center, allowing the Raiders to execute more dynamic, high-octane plays that have previously been imagined but never fully realized. Rumors indicate that the team has already begun tailoring its playbook to leverage Hill's strengths, experimenting with motion-heavy formations, deep vertical threats, and creative screens designed to exploit defenses that have grown accustomed to the Raiders' more traditional schemes. Meanwhile, fan communities online are buzzing with speculation about how Hill's presence could alter locker room dynamics, with some suggesting that his confidence and high-energy persona might invigorate younger players, while others worry about the challenges of integrating such a dominant personality into an established hierarchy. Industry insiders, speaking under conditions of anonymity, hint at discussions over branding opportunities and market impact, implying that Hill's acquisition is being viewed as a multidimensional win for Las Vegas, potentially increasing ticket sales, merchandise revenue, and local fan engagement. As speculation continues to mount, what began as a routine off-season signing has rapidly morphed into a pervasive narrative, one that positions Tyreek Hill not merely as a player on the roster, but as a central figure around which the Raiders' future may very well pivot. And conversations around him now dominate virtually every facet of sports media commentary. There are persistent murmurs suggesting that Tyreek Hill's arrival in Las Vegas may carry implications far beyond the football field, with rumors circulating that the Raiders' management views this signing as a statement of intent, an audacious declaration that the franchise is ready to contend at the highest levels immediately. Observers speculate that the team is signaling to both players and fans that mediocrity will no longer be tolerated, and that the arrival of a talent like Hill signifies a commitment to championship aspirations, even if the challenges inherent in blending new stars into an established system remain considerable. In insider circles, there are reports that coaches have engaged in intensive planning sessions, exploring every conceivable scenario in which Hill's unique skill set could alter the flow of a game, from deep threat opportunities that stretch defenses to unexpected gadget plays designed to capitalize on his explosive agility. Fans on social media, meanwhile, are abuzz with speculation over whether Hill's signing will inspire similar high-profile acquisitions in the coming months, potentially triggering a cascade of roster moves aimed at assembling a team capable of competing with the league's elite. The rumor mill further suggests that Hill's presence could even impact draft strategies, with scouts reevaluating positional priorities in order to complement the dynamic playmaker now at the heart of the Raiders' offense. As this swirling mix of speculation, excitement, and cautious optimism continues, it is clear that the conversation surrounding Tyreek Hill has transcended the ordinary, evolving into a saga in which every practice, every preseason snap, and every media appearance is analyzed as a potential hint at just how monumental this signing might ultimately prove to be. Insiders hint that the cultural ramifications of Tyreek Hill's move to the Raiders may be as significant as the athletic impact, with conversations suggesting that his presence could redefine the ethos of a team that has historically oscillated between periods of high achievement and extended mediocrity. Rumors abound that Hill's leadership style, on-field intensity, and off-field charisma are already creating ripples among veteran players and rookies alike, fostering an environment in which ambition is encouraged, boundaries are tested, and innovation in play design is not only tolerated but actively pursued. Analysts have speculated that Hill's integration into the team could accelerate the development of young talent, providing a living example of professionalism, preparation, and focus that resonates through every level of the roster. Meanwhile, sports commentators hint at the possibility that the team's identity, historically tied to gritty performances and occasional flashes of brilliance, could shift toward a more electrifying, high-speed approach, one in which Hill's unique abilities serve as the engine driving offensive innovation. Fans continue to speculate fervently on forums, imagining scenarios in which Hill's presence transforms the silver and black into perennial contenders, raising expectations and intensifying scrutiny in equal measure. As the rumor mill churns, there's a growing sense that this is more than a player acquisition. It is a cultural moment, one that could mark the beginning of a new chapter for the Raiders, with Tyreek Hill positioned at its center, and every rumor, insider tip, and speculative analysis only serves to heighten the anticipation and the stakes surrounding the team's next moves, both on and off the field. As the narrative surrounding Tyreek Hill's signing continues to unfold, speculation has reached fever pitch, with murmurs suggesting that this may not merely be the Raiders' biggest acquisition, but a move that could reverberate across the entire NFL, reshaping rivalries, offensive schemes, and the balance of power in ways that few insiders are willing to dismiss. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.